Hey, Dr. Karen Can here. Welcome to another edition of the Spiritual Medicine Digest. And it's kind of been an exciting start to March 2019. So lots of really interesting spiritual insights to share with you today. So this is in no particular order. So one of the first things I want to share with you is about when so-called bad things happen to us that are supposed to happen. In other words, if you checked the light path score or the divine path score, same thing, of this particular situation happening to you, and it's like over 95%, it's supposed to happen. And usually it's three reasons. So you may have heard of the first one. It's called your soul mission. So the first reason is because this thing might have happened to you because it's related to your soul mission or a mini mission underneath your foundational soul mission. Now, Jill Bolte Taylor, who was a brain researcher, ended up at a fairly young age having a stroke. Now, her being a brain researcher, she ended up studying her own stroke and figuring out like what that's like to actually suffer from a stroke. And she ended up having to use her right brain and what it was like. And she wrote a book about it. And you can see her on the TEDx stage talking about it. Now, you can see from retrospect that was perfect for her, right? Like you would think having the stroke is a bad thing, but if she didn't have the stroke, she wouldn't have come to this insight and this amazing learning to share it with all these millions of other people. So you can see how her having a stroke was for the highest good. Same thing with Ram Dass. He's a spiritual teacher and he ended up with a stroke in a wheelchair, but it created an opening of the heart and all sorts of wonderful things for a whole bunch of people because of that. Now, so the soul mission is one out of the three things it could be if you're experiencing something you do not want, but it's for the highest good. The second thing is what I call the soul experience template. Now, the first thing, the soul mission, we can figure that out through your soul mission matrix. And that actually is in, let me just show you my Topican Healing Guides. This is part of our level 1 training, but this is the soul mission matrix. And there is a protocol to figure out your soul mission. Now, the soul template, the soul experience template, actually is another chart. And most people have about 2 to 4 main things that their soul requested to experience in this timeline. It is not your mission, it's what you requested to experience. Now, one of mine that's been kicking me in the butt a little bit lately, and I say that jokingly, is is my soul experience, requested experience of being a hero. So in this part of this timeline, I wanted to experience what it's like to be a hero. Hence the natural predisposition to really like superhero movies. I've loved them since I was really young. So some of the things that I get to fix or help or whatever on a very big scale is because of that wanting to experience being a hero. And so your soul experience template is something that you can figure out as well. And we actually taught both the soul mission matrix and the soul experience template at the Supercharge Your Healing Powers event, which is now recorded. So in case you're interested in learning those two skill sets, you can check it out at superchargeyourhealingpowers.com. Now, the third thing is brand new that I have not revealed until today, at least publicly, because I've been working with this. So the answer I've gotten from Source lately, if it's not the first two, it's not part of your soul mission, it's not part of your soul experience requested, experiences. The third is it's to evolve your soul. So we call that the soul evolution. So if you get that your divine path is really high to experience this uncomfortable, unpleasant situation, and it's not your soul experience template, and it's not in your soul mission, it could be part of your soul evolution that you experience this, of our learning, our evolution of who we are and who we wish to be. So don't despair. Sometimes bad things are good. Sometimes we can't see what it is at the end of the line, why they're good, but these give you at least 3 things that you can check for, especially if you do divine muscle testing, as we teach in the Topican Healing Training, to just check, is it part of your soul mission, soul experience, or is it part of your soul evolution? So that was really cool that I wanted to share that learning from you. The second thing this week I wanted to share with you is around resiliency codes and the difference between that and what we call maximum tolerance morphic fields. So that's MTM, what is it? MTMF, maximum tolerance morphic fields. So in the Autoimmune Healing Secrets program, and we've done this on the Spiritual Medicine Digest as well, there are these positive morphic fields or blueprints that help us become more resilient in the face of certain types of situations and stresses. So for example, we created a brand new resiliency code to 5G radiation. So you can download and activate that. So anyone can do that. You just, after watching this video, you can go ahead and just do a directive to download and activate this morphic field for yourself, and then do muscle testing just to check to make sure you have it fully downloaded and activated. So there may be more resiliency codes that are created that we can then download and activate. And if you happen to have my Ascension 2, my flagship positive healing and protection formula, healing and integration formula. I need to make shorter names for my formulas because it's like blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so if you have that one, it's already infused. The instructions are already infused for this, the resiliency codes. Any new ones we create, it's automatically put in there. Also, if you have any of my other programs, oftentimes it's also infused into Deep Healing 2 and 4, in case you have that one instead of Ascension 2. Or if you have the Unlock Your Superpowers program, it would be in the Awaken Your Superpowers MP3. So listening to that helps. And you can just say, hey, whatever new morphic fields are available, download this to me now. That's all you can, that's all you need to say to have that happen. So the other thing, the maximum tolerance morphic fields, is about slightly different from resiliency, is like having more strength in the face of XYZ situation. So because it's a slightly different one, you can have those morphic fields as well. So you might have a maximum tolerance morphic field downloaded and activated for pumping iron, like being stronger when you are, holding heavy weight or running, or your breath is better when you're exercising, or if you're going to a moldy home. Now that could be also a resiliency code too, but why not create and download the positive morphic field for being maximally tolerant to these situations? So for the most part, if you're Topocan healing attuned already, which most people are, if you know some of the Topocan healing directives, you can just create a directive for yourself to download the maximum tolerance morphic field, so MTMF, for whatever situation you're facing. So check that out and let me know, comment below how that works for you and if you feel a difference. The other important news for this week is about reactivity. Now, this is really handy if you already know divine muscle testing, because for those of us that are sensitive souls, we're talking the empaths and the indigos and the starseeds and the earth angels and the hybrids, etc., etc. Whenever we go through an ascension upgrade energetically in the whole world, we become more sensitive and sometimes more reactive, because we are, it's the other side of the coin. We can have more spiritual gifts and those elevate, but it can also cause some increased reactivity in parts of our energy body. So one of the handy things you can do if you muscle test is ask this question: how high is the highest reactivity I have in any timeline where I exist out of 10? 10 meaning super, super duper reactive, 0 meaning none. Ideally, we want to be 0 reactive, so that we are not reacting just blatantly to everything and anything, especially new things. Now, if you already have a positive morphic field that turns down the volume of your reactivity, for example, if you're in my Autoimmune Healing Secrets program, you already have that morphic field that turns down the volume of that, you can tweak it. So in other words, you can test to see how reactive you are to certain things. Like this past week, we're still doing some Infiniverse healing, but I got for me that it was not necessary for me to take care of or be responsible for those things healing in the Infiniverse. So in this case, my body was just reacting to what was going on that wanted healing. I didn't have to actually take responsibility to heal it. So what I did was I created a positive morphic field to specifically turn down my reactivity relative to the Infiniverse, or whatever it is that, is healing. Another one of my clients, we created a positive morphic field because he's a light being starseed, specific to whenever we have ascension upgrades, that the chi is evolving to higher and higher vibration, and that can cause burning pain in light being starseed. So if this is the case, what we want to do is create that positive morphic field to turn off the reactivity to when that happens. So when that happens to, when we have ascension upgrades, that the energy body is not reacting to that. So you can do it very, very specific for your situation if you want to turn down your reactivity. So check the highest reactivity you have every day, and if it's above a 0, turn it down. Keep turning it down every single day and get into this pattern and notice if your symptoms get a lot better over the next few days when you do that. I know for me, it definitely has been better. So the other thing I wanted to share with you is about alternate mass consciousness. Now, this is for when you might be feeling a little snippy, a little bit irritated or depressed, having low self-worth or self-esteem. A lot of times, if you're a sensitive soul, it's not your stuff. So one of the handy things, again, knowing divine muscle testing, is you can check how much of this is really mine in this timeline, or am I feeling somebody else's stuff? And what's been happening this past week is the alternate versions of us is feeling what's going on with mass consciousness in that timeline, usually a parallel timeline. And mass consciousness is often going through this, sad, poor self-esteem, don't feel good about myself, that kind of thing. So then when we're sensitive souls, we end up feeling some of that as well. And because all of our timelines have collapsed to some degree or converged, sometimes we'll feel it with, mass consciousness, even if it's not in this timeline. So you want to check how healthy your boundaries are with mass consciousness. You want to check how healthy your boundaries and relationships are with alternate mass consciousnesses, and make sure those are nice and 40 and 100%. And you can even do, for example, your maximum tolerance morphic fields and create one specific to not having to feel or being fully tolerant of other people's stuff or other people's emotions or mass consciousnesses, right? You can make a morphic field and download that to yourself. So you can be super creative with Topocan healing, which is what I really like, and it's really exciting. The other positive morphic field, oh gosh, a lot of stuff to tell you this week. The other positive morphic field co-created with one of our VIP members is around resistance. So ascension resistance. So there is an energy that when we go into higher vibration, that parts of us that are not ready yet, seemingly, to go up to that high level may resist, going up. And that can cause some problems if that resistance is not resolved. Now, we might have temporary resistance, which then goes away because we're doing spiritual work, we're working on ourselves, we're very conscious, and that is awesome. But there's plenty of people out there that may not have that, and so that resistance stays, and it doesn't just come up and then relax, right? It kind of stays there. And what can happen is we can accumulate all sorts of crap that needs to heal in order for us to fully ascend, but it can't heal because we are stuck in this resistance. So today, one of the VIP members and I created a positive morphic field to eliminate, dissolve, and uncreate that type of resistance. So we are calling it, the Ascension Resistance Eliminator or something to that degree. So it'll help you eliminate as quickly as possible the resistance to that, so you can go and elevate your frequency as easily and as gracefully as possible. So again, if you have any of my MP3s, it's really interesting because this is one of the ones where it's not that common, but this is one of the ones that wanted to be infused into every single MP3, MP4 that I've ever created. So if you have any of my stuff, let me just ask, is it in the clearing spray? Okay, with the exception of the clearing spray, because that's a freebie and it's very specific, on what that clears. But for everything else, that if you bought any of my other programs, those actually have those Ascension Resistance healing frequencies in it now, even Ascension 1, even though it's a positive morphic field. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, whew, that was a lot of news this week. So some announcements. So next Monday on the radio show, I have my good friend Jenny No coming on the radio show. Super excited because she's going to be working with some people, doing some group processes for us, and her and I are very much in alignment with many things. So where I see the big picture, the foundational soul mission, Jenny is working on other aspects of soul purpose and prosperity and passion. And she has a wonderful system and some really neat like guides and assessment tools to just figure out where you are. And I think it's so wonderful. She's agreed to come on the show and do some work with our listeners. Yay! So that's going to be 12 noon Eastern on Monday, March 11th. Yes, 12 noon Eastern. So you definitely want to call in and, work with Jenny. We're going to do some group processes as well. So the number to call in, we'll post underneath the video. And also, if you're on my mailing list, KarenCan.com, we'll be emailing you the list. The link to the radio show, as well as the phone number there as well, in case you would like to unmute yourself, or at least the instructions on how to do that. We'll email you there. So super exciting stuff. So definitely join me for that. And if you happen to be listening to this Spiritual Medicine Digest before Monday, sorry, I'm losing my words here. Thursday, Thursday, March 7th. One thing that's super exciting is that Gretchen Yui and I are doing a co-webinar together teaching the Yui desensitization method. So this is a method that helps you desensitize from your allergy and intolerance symptoms literally in about 10 minutes. It's very, very effective. So if you're listening to this show before the 7th, you can actually register at patchtrainingteam.com/register Yui method, spelled UHE and then method, all one word, register Yui method. So yeah, because if you want the replay for that, you definitely have to register for the live, even if you can't be live on the show. So I'll be posting this video in my Facebook groups on Facebook. So if you catch this before the 7th, definitely you want to register ASAP for that. I think that's all the announcements I have for this week. Oh, it was a long Spiritual Medicine Digest this week, but exciting nonetheless. Okay, guys, I really enjoyed being with you. Thank you so much for watching this. And if you have any great feedback, comments, testimonials, love to hear them, listen to them. So you can post them below. You can write them below. And we'll talk to you next week. Bye for now.